What's poppin' T Squad? It's your girl Keisha, and I'm here with tonight's All Tea All Shade Couples Retreat Season 2 Episode 7 review. Okay, you guys, so the episode starts off with everyone as far as the cast being affected by Styles and Ajua's breakthrough, with them talking about, their daughter and what, losing her and how it has affected her. Even Danny Demon Seed ass was affected. He even cried. Like, everybody was really shook because, a lot of them felt like Ajua and Styles tried to pretend like they were this perfect couple, not knowing that they had more deeper issues than actually anybody there. So then the next day, Danny actually has a one-on-one with AJ, and she really wants to get to know him so she can try to figure out why he acts and behaves the way that he does. So we learn that Danny was raised in a single parent home by his mother. He was the oldest of 3. He never met his father, never saw a photo of him. And I was like, oh, okay. Red flag number 1 of why he acts the way he does. Then he said that, his mom wasn't affectionate because she was diagnosed with HIV. So, back then, there were all these misconceptions on, you can't touch people, you can't do this and that. So, that affectionate barrier was, placed in their family. So he said that his mother lived for about maybe 10 or so years with it, and then she passed away. So he was very young. And so he said he promised his mom that he would take care of his brother, and that, he now realizes that him not being affectionate, stemmed from that. He said that this is a conversation that he's had with Jess because she, understood where he was coming from with those things, and that he now feels like he does need to open up and allow himself to be more affectionate because it made him feel good to talk about his past and realize that just because he went through those things doesn't mean that he has to hurt other people. And I hope that he's being serious about this. I really honestly do, because he has acted an ass on this show. It's horrible what he went through as a child. No child should ever have to go through what he has gone through, but it does explain why he is so closed off and cold-hearted about everything, because he was dealt a really fucked up hand. We then go to Kiana and Nick. They are back. Nick's father, is doing better, so they decided to come back, and they're in their room and they're talking, and he's eating, and he's telling Kiana that, the retreat is cool, but he feel like it has brought on unnecessary tension in their relationship, because he's seen a side of her that he's never really saw before, where, she's upset and she's not backing down from him. And that makes Kiana feel like, has he really learned anything? You know what I'm saying? Like, we're here because, yeah, we argue over the same shit all the time because you're not taking me seriously. And this is the one time I'm not just letting the shit roll over and just continue on with life like nothing is going on in our relationship. And I feel like Nick is one of those people where he likes to pretend like there's nothing happening. There's no lava on the floor. Everything is crystal clear and fine. Nobody's feeling any type of way. He likes to live in this imaginary world and escape reality and not deal with what is really going on. Like, he lives in this little fantasy childhood world, and he needs to grow the hell up, because this girl is like seconds away from being done with him. Like, if he don't get it the fuck together, I can look all in her face and tell that she is at that mark where if he keep this shit up, she is going to be gone and not come back ever again. So he better get it the fuck together, child. Nick surprises the guys at the gym, and everybody's super excited to see him back. AJ decides that she needs to have, some quality times with the guys so she can give them that big sister talk. And she's talking to the guys and everything, and Ronnie admits that, he's still kind of tripping off what happened with Shamari, with her drinking and coming on to Jess and everything, and how, they made up, but this is things that they have gone through in the past. So he's wondering now, are these things going to continue to pop up in our relationship? And I'm like, yes, they are, because your wife is bisexual. She likes women. And as soon as both of you are able to admit that and deal with that and let that sink in, instead of trying to deny it, y'all gonna continue to have these issues. Like, y'all gonna have to figure that shit the fuck out. So AJ then goes on to tell all the guys that, before y'all came here, y'all was faking. Y'all was, acting like everything was a bed of roses, like everything was good, and y'all are crumbling underneath. And I 100% agreed with that. Like, y'all can't continue to fake, because the fake shit gonna fly out the window sooner or later. And I felt like Nick really should have been listening to that. And she points out to Nick, like, do you realize that Kiana don't even look at you when y'all talking? And he was like, I didn't realize it until we got here. That girl is emotionally shut down. I've been there. I know that face. That's that face when you like, why am I doing this? Why am I here? He don't care. He don't recognize my pain. Like, I'm sick of this. I'm tired. I'm drained. I can't take no more. That's that look. And that's why she don't even bother to look at him anymore, because she's tired of that nigga. So, Styles then goes on to say that, he don't be wanting to bring all of his, drama or negativity or any issues that he got going on outside the house home. He just be wanting to drop that shit at the door. But AJ was like, you and your wife are business partners. So how about, instead of you like ranting and raving, you say, hey, what you think about this? So how you feel about that? Like, it's a different way to go about things. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, you know what? You're right about that. Like, if I can learn a better way to communicate, then that will lead to more time with me being able to be affectionate towards my wife. And I really hope that this helps him and Ajawa, because I love him and Ajawa together. I just live for them. So then we see Ronnie meet up with AJ to have a one-on-one. And he admits to her that there are still wounds there when it comes to Shamari cheating on him, and that those wounds come up, and he still fears that she might once again, want to be with another woman. So in turn, he's cautious with his love when it comes to her, and he holds back. And like I said, that is the biggest problem that these two got, is that he fears she's going to come out like, yes, I want to be with another woman. And that's going to, of course, end their relationship. And I feel like she fears if she embraces who she really is, that she's going to lose her best friend, her husband, and, the life that they built with each other. But they have to be honest with each other. She has to be honest, whether good, bad, or indifferent. Like, that is the whole pinnacle of their relationship, and so AJ was like, is cautious love betrayal? And I was like, ooh, that is a great question. And Ronnie was like, well, if you're not giving someone all of yourself, then yeah. And I'm like, yeah, because you're holding back pieces of yourself. You're holding back your emotions and your affections, and you're cautious, and you're basically like scoping this person out to see how much you can give, because that then shows that you're not trusting of that person. So that was a deep ass question. And AJ was like, you gonna have to tell her this. Like, this is something that y'all gonna really have to talk about and work on. And I was like, yeah, like, they got one of the biggest issues that really needs to be talked about. Hell, if anybody come back next season, it need to be their asses. So the all the couples are in the room dancing, having a good time, and they all are admiring Kiana's engagement ring. And Claudia says to KJ, you want to know what a ring look like? And, he laughing or whatever, looking like, oh, Lord, here we go. And so he even tells the guys that I don't know how long I'm able to get away with this shit without proposing, because we've been together 3 years. All of our couples friends are engaged or either married. So everybody looking at us like, when are y'all going to get married or whatever. And so he tells the guys that, I don't want to be rushed. I was married for 12 years, and he want to make sure that everything right, because, they sex life still ain't all the way good. And once she get the ring, he don't want things to get even worse. And so Michael was like, what if Claudia said we don't have to get married? He was like, shit, I'll be all right. That'll be all right with me. Claudia is in ears listening distance, and here's what he says. And she felt some type of way about that, because she was like, it's one thing when we joke together, but it's another thing when you making jokes out of this shit with the guys, because it's embarrassing. And I think that it's also an eye-opener to her that this is how that man really truly feels. Like, y'all gotta start listening to what these niggas tell y'all and stop conjuring up y'all own fantasies and thoughts and outcomes. Like, when he say he don't want to get married right now, he don't want to. You know what I'm saying? And so then you have to take that information and do with it as you please. And if I want to get married and you're not wanting to marry me, then I need to move the fuck on. Period. Because when you fucking know. Men know who they want to be with. Men know who they want to marry. So if they got all these excuses in the world, then that probably mean that you ain't the one, darling. Sorry. So the couples get together for their group exercise, and they're sitting in this dark room because now they have to bring all of their truth to the light at this point, because it's about to be over, this whole retreat. So AJ has Danny and Jess sit down first, and he asks Danny, do you love her? And Jess in her confession was like, why you got this man? Why you asking him, do he love me? Like, he has said it 50 million times, he don't. So Danny was like, I have a lot of love for her. I care about her. And I'm like, that means no. When a nigga say I got a lot of love for you, he don't love you. So he then goes on to say, I apologize for the way I made you feel while we didn't hear. I'm afraid to love. And he talks about his mom and everything he had to go through with that, and how he felt abandoned and how he never wants to feel abandoned again. And so that's why he acts and behaves that, the way that he does, and that, he's basically been afraid to love ever since. And Jess was like, what? It makes sense now. Does that mean I'm going to negate everything that we've been through? I don't know. I feel like they should just move on from each other. I honestly do, and just be good friends, because he don't love you and he got a lot of work to do on himself. Just leave the whole situation alone and just be good Judies and keep it moving. So then we go to Rada and Michael, and he goes on to tell us the story about his past and how his mother left his father because she said he was abusive. They moved to the States, and she had to go back to Africa and left him and his siblings in a shelter, and they went through all of this stuff. And so ever since then, that he's basically been like hardened on how he navigates life, and that he has accepted who he is. He's never been faithful. He likes to have multiple women. This is who he is, and you got to accept him for, what it is. And so Rada says, at this point, she gets it. She understands that he's not going to change. So she has a big decision to make. And I'm like, and your decision needs to be to move the hell on, girl, because a part of me still feel like her dumb ass is thinking like, I can still change him. Oh, God. So then we see Ronnie and Shamari sit down, and he tells her his secret that, he's been very cautious and fearful with their love. And she says, why? He was like, because, when you get to drinking and you tapping Rada on the ass and then you smacking Jess on the ass, it makes me feel like, that door for you to be with another woman will open. And she was like, well, it was just fun. And he was like, no, it's just fun for you, but it's not fun for me, because it makes me feel like I can't trust you. And I'm like, that's what she needs to understand. Like, this man is scared you're going to leave him for another woman. And she's steady trying to sugarcoat it like, oh, I don't want to be with girls. I don't want it. You do. Jesus Christ. Shamari, however, is adamant that she does not want another woman, and she apologizes for hurting him. And I just feel like they still living a lie at this point, child. So then we go on to Styles and Adjoa, and they just both agree that they're going to honor each other's needs when it comes to their relationship. Claudia and KJ go next, and Claudia says, no matter what I do to improve myself, I just feel like it won't be good enough for you. And she said that she told one of her friends that if things don't change, she's going to be done by the end of the year. So AJ asked KJ, do you think that she is the woman for you? He was like, yeah, I believe she's the woman for me, but there are some ifs. And Claudia was like, look, if you looking for me to be perfect, I ain't the one for you. And she was like, I'm not going to continue to feel inadequate. I already feel it in the industry that I'm in online. I'm not going to be walking home into my house every day and feeling like I'm not good enough for you. And I'm like, girl, you better speak a word. And cause like, nigga, who the fuck are you? Like the fuck. And so AJ was like, Claudia, do you feel worthy of love? And she cannot even answer the question. She begins to cry. And that says a lot. That says a lot about why she has stuck around and put up with this shit. And so KJ was like, you know, I love you. And AJ asked Claudia, does she believe it? And she was like, yeah, I believe it. And KJ in his confessional says that, you know, he does want to be with her. He feels like they do have a lot more room to grow, and that he basically just hopes that she sticks around to allow them to grow. And I believe he cares about her, but he got a lot of weird shit going on with him. I don't even understand it. So then Nick and Kiana sit down, and she is already distraught, child, before she even get in the chair. And, you know, Nick says that his secret probably is the fact that, you know, him cheating with Iggy Azalea in the past and doing what he did and proposing to her and everything, you know, really probably affected Kiana and what people were saying online about her. And that probably really affected how she views herself and how she feels. So AJ was like, ask her. And so Nick was like, do you feel like you're enough? And that girl couldn't even look at him in the face. Her whole face was trembling with tears. And AJ was like, look at him. Like, you have to be able to tell him how you feel, how that made you feel. Anna finally admits that social media really tore her down. Like, everything that everybody was saying really fucked her up. And that, you know, she puts on a brave face and pretends like she's tough, but she really is a softie, and it really affected her. And Nick realizes that, damn, like, I never even saw this side of her. I never even knew that it affected her so much. And he apologized. I'm like, how could you not realize how bad this affected her? Y'all have been together since high school. You know what I'm saying? She had been through everything with you. You know what I'm saying? And you let fame and money and all of this bullshit get to your head and leave a real one for some Hollywood shit. So he apologizes and said that, you know, he was just happy she took him back. Like, that's, you know, after everything that he did. And he says, you know, he can't lose her. And, you know, the way that she was with him, you know, doing his dad's health scare and everything, really shown him again that, you know, he don't want to do this life with anybody else but her. Like, she is the anchor of their family, and he cannot lose her. And so AJ asked Kiana, do you forgive him? And she was like, no, because when this subject comes up, I still get angry, and it is a trigger for me. And AJ was like, you know, well, it might take a minute. It might take a minute, but if y'all willing to go through the steps of healing, y'all can get through this. And the episode goes off. This was a very strong episode with a lot of breakthroughs, a lot of revelations and everything. And so episode 8 will be the outcome. We're going to see who stays with who going to break up, child. Woo, it's a mess. That video will be up tomorrow. Let me know what you guys thought about tonight's episode down below in the comment section. If you guys have not checked out my Keisha capsule collection with Pretty Girl Parlor Curvy Teak, make sure that you do. The links for all the outfits will be down below in the comment section. Make sure you cop them. We only have a few items left. So make sure you guys head over to prettygirlparlor.com to get your look. Love you guys. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.